For the latest updates on the press conference with the Taliban spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid, we have with us our correspondent Sumaira Khan reporting live from Kabul. Sumaira, thank you for joining us. So it's the second press conference by the Taliban spokesperson in days. Tell us some significant points he raised today in this presser.
Yes, Jawad, it was a very, very important press conference, and I think we were expecting it. Just a day earlier when we met Zabiullah Mujahid, he expressed this intention that he is going to hold a press conference very soon, just to respond to few queries and few propagandas that are being generated from the city of Kabul. He spoke about women and women issues. First of all, I guess that needs to be clarified. He said that there is a propaganda regarding women, that they are being stripped of their jobs in the private sector and from the government sector. He said that it's baseless. We have requested our honorable Afghan ladies to stay home for a while until and unless we just have complete control over the security situation in the city, and that is why we have closed down ministries as well, because we had the spoiler alert through intelligence reports as well, that they can be harmed in the name of Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, and it would go once again, it would boost the propaganda against the Islamic Emirate. And secondly, he said that every woman that has been requested to stay home as of now, they will be given their salaries at their doorsteps, so they don't have to worry about their jobs are intact, and they'll be called back soon once we have everything in place. Secondly, he talked about, my question from him was that what measures you are taking for the security of women in the capital. And second part of the question was how actively, proactively you are engaging the international community diplomatically, so you are able to remove all the hurdles in the way of forming your government in Afghanistan. So he said that yes, we are actively engaging all the available diplomatic channels to convince the international community that yes, we are up to all the standards. We are here in Afghanistan. It is our country, and we'll take every measure that goes for the betterment and development of our nation. Secondly, he said that he doesn't know about any meeting. He's not aware of any meeting of CIA director meeting Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar. And another important point of his opening remarks was that in Kabul and other provinces of Afghanistan, excluding Panjshir, because there is a situation right now. But he said that we have sought reports from every governor of Afghanistan, and I'm glad while sharing this with you that we do not have we don't have reports of any major killings, casualties, or any major kind of conflict in the entire Afghanistan, not just Kabul. And in Kabul city, crime rate has gone to 1%. And that 1% is even being looked after. So we can reach all the goals we had determined while before we could control the major part of Afghanistan. Regarding Panjshir, he said that we want no bloodshed now. Panjshir is a peaceful valley. It should remain so, and we are trying to resolve the matter through negotiations. And for those negotiations, they have assigned the ulama and other religious factors that are respectable for, and that are unanimously respectable for all sects in Afghanistan. So these were some salient features, and if you need to ask about anything else, you can ask.
Okay, Sumaira, as you just mentioned that he also pointed out the issue in Panjshir Valley. You are over there in Afghanistan since the takeover of Kabul by the Taliban. Please share with us, our viewers, the actual situation on the ground regarding the Panjshir Valley issue. As the Taliban spokesperson just said, that this issue would be resolved through negotiations. Did he urge the residents of Panjshir Valley to leave that valley and come to Kabul?
No. I was there. He did not say that. In fact, he said that like every province they have been taking over, they did not ask anyone to displace him or herself. Yes, while speaking of displacement, he warned U.S. that the U.S. is once again creating a frenzy before it's withdrawing from our soil, and that frenzy is that he is trying to brain drain Afghanistan, and we know that the finest of the finest team of Afghanistan, doctors, engineers, and others. Even he named all those who are fleeing right now from Afghanistan. He said that U.S. we demand you from U.S. to stop doing that provocation, and the U.S. is trying to create a situation in Afghanistan that Afghanistan is not secure for them. He called upon its countrymen, including the countrymen who are residing in Panjshir, that let's come forward and join hands in bringing peace to the entire Afghanistan. So this is in the better interest of every Afghan national. So there was no clear policy, or there was no clear statement whatever they are going to do in Panjshir Valley, except of the fact that they said that there should be one thing, and that is negotiations, no bloodshed.
Okay, Sumaira, regarding the evacuation process's deadline, that was the 31st of August, that was already set and agreed upon by the US and the Taliban as well. Now we see yesterday President Biden saying about the possibility of extending that deadline, and today another US official hinted at that particular extension of the deadline. But the Taliban responded earlier very strongly that it would be considered a red line. Did the Taliban spokesperson talk about this deadline, and if yes, what did he has to say about that?
There is a very clear statement already, and I think they are not repeating it time and again. Yesterday there was a statement from Suhail Shaheen, the spokesperson, another spokesperson and very active spokesperson of political office of IEA. He said that there is no extension to the deadline, and if US does so, we are going to retaliate to that, and it will be no good for any one of us. So US should refrain from taking any steps like that. And yes, I've heard that while amongst that the information that was coming out of G7 preparations and every activity over there, I've heard that many are opposing Joe Biden's statement and any U.S. official statement that they are even thinking about extending the deadline, because already there is enough havoc at the Kabul International Airport. People are still hoping to get out of Afghanistan. Why? Because now it has started taking a shape of economical immigration. It's no more at-risk Afghan scenario. So right now, I think if they are going towards any such measure, they are going to create problems for themselves, because Taliban security forces and foreign security forces right now at Kabul International Airport, they are standing eyeball to eyeball. So if US needs another bloodshed regime, then definitely it will be going to violate the Doha Accord once again.
So, Sumaira, what about the political consultations? Did the Taliban spokesperson give any specific time frame by which these political consultations would come to an end, a new setup or a government which will be formed?
No, Jawad, I think it will take time, because Afghanistan is such a complicated country with more than 200 dialects, 13 ethnicities, and a lot of political parties. And this time, it's not just Pashtuns. It's the Tajik, it's the Uzbek, it's the Hazara, and everybody should be given. It's not just my personal view, but I've seen people on streets, and for the first time, they're expecting from the government of Taliban that they would honor their promises and their word, that they would be allowing every ethnicity to represent Afghanistan in its true manner. So I think the longer it's taking, the more it's going to be all-inclusive, what I'm guessing right now.
So regarding the functioning of the government institutions, as we all know that the head of the central bank has been appointed, and do you see that under the Taliban, when the economic issues come into the limelight after the takeover by the Taliban, of course, there would be resources required in order to give a sort of support to the war-rippled economy of Afghanistan. So in that regard, this is a big step that has been done by the Taliban. So do you see further steps regarding mitigation of this economic crisis over there?
I guess it's the matter that is still being discussed with the other countries, and this is why they are actively engaging other countries So they come forward and join them diplomatically and open the diplomatic channels with Afghanistan's new administration. And yesterday we heard that Iran resumed the oil fuel supplies to Afghanistan upon request because there would be a chaos. The new administration appointed Haji Idris as the executive director of their central bank just to ease out the flow of cash to the government servants, so they don't run out of cash, and the life goes on as per the routine matter. So I think they are in a process to bring life back to normalcy in Afghanistan by creating such corridors. And I've also heard that they are right now collecting and keeping records of all the cash they are collecting from trade corridors on borders, including Spin Boulders, Chaman, Torkham, Jalalabad, and other important trade crossings with Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Iran. But the crossing with Iran in Zaranj, that holds key importance for them, and the two crossings with Pakistan. So I think there are resources. They have recovered a lot of cash from the presidential palace as well. So as of now, we can say that they are not running out of cash, but they are looking for futuristic measures that the Afghan nationals, they should not face any problems in terms of receiving their salaries in any office.
Sumaira, I would like to take this opportunity of interacting with you. What is the general sentiment over there among the people of Afghanistan, especially when it comes to the functioning of the government departments, especially educational institutions and the working of the hospitals? And then the Taliban spokesperson also mentioned that the national television and the radio are also working at the full capacity.
But Jawad, I think it's taking time, and it will take time. We can't just prematurely and assume everything, because it's a war-torn country for 70 years. But I see everybody in a rush to just get the conclusion what exactly they are going to do. That is not our job to do. I think back home, everybody, even in the neighboring countries, everybody is looking up to a magical formation of government overnight. They are expecting Taliban to announce this government formation according to their wish and whim. This is, I think, illogical. Give them their time. They are the custodians of their country, and who are we to decide that what should they do and what should they do?
No, what sort of sentiment do you see on the Kabul's streets and roads regarding after especially the promises which were made in the first presser?
But as per I would like to respond to that, with the part of your question about educational institutes. Yes, they are gradually opening it, and today we held a brief meeting with him, with Zabi as well, prior to this press conference, and he was of the view they have started opening schools, not just madrasas, but also the modern day schools as well, and they are also they are also taking some important measures on the syllabus as well. So they should be taking along the history and the traditional history and everything that they should include religiously, with all religion's perspective. So they are adding everything to the syllabus. I think there are very important decisions ahead in the days to come.
Okay, Sumaira, one last question. After today's announcement by Zabiullah Mujahid about the evacuation process and his guarantee of the security of the people who want to return home, do you think normalcy would restore at the Kabul airport?
Yes, he did say that, because he said that our people, our security forces, our personnel, they are keeping restraint. They are exercising restraint, not to beat people, not to do that aerial shots again, not to harass them. But he clarified one thing, that they are in an accord. They are in a contract with the U.S. administration that they have to provide a safe passage to U.S. citizens in a bid to get them to Kabul International Airport, and so they can evacuate their citizens. But he did say that we are demanding from U.S. to stop provocating the Afghan nationals, because earlier the figure was too low. They had to evacuate hardly 15 to 20,000 people from Afghanistan, but now that figure goes to 60,000. So he was of the view that it is a clear attempt of brain draining Afghanistan. So U.S. should not be doing it, otherwise the consequence will be hard to accept in any way.
Sumaira Khan, our correspondent, reporting live from Kabul as the Taliban spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid addressed a second presser after the Kabul takeover by the Taliban. And the most important that he mentioned in that press conference was that the law and order and the security situation overall in Afghanistan remains to be satisfactory. Sumaira Khan, thank you very much for the updates live from Kabul, and we'll continue to update you regarding the development happening in Afghanistan.